And welcome everybody to HOU.SEC.CON, the HOU.SEC.CON podcast. This is episode 49, or 49er, as we would say in the Army, because our guest was in the Army as well. So, cool stuff like that. How you doing, Sam?
Sehr good. How about you?
I'm good. Always excited to have a friend come on and talk to us. Daniel Miessler is a good dude. He's does stuff over at Unsupervised Learning. He does really cool content over at Unsupervised
Great newsletter.
Learning.
Great
newsletter, all his podcasts and everything. He's big on AI. Really glad to have him. And I think we're going to share that same picture that we shared back when we had Jason Haddix, because he was also in that picture when we were all at HOU.SEC.CON back like 10 years ago when I started working with him and Jason Haddix and David Nestor and all that stuff. So
I wasn't in that picture because I wasn't cool enough, but
you didn't work at Fortify with us at the time. I tried to work with you and then you left HP right when I moved over there. I was taking it personally. Well, anyway, enough personal history. Let's go talk to Daniel, man.
Let's go.
All right, Daniel. I think this is the first time you've been on the HOU.SEC.CAST. Not the first time. Obviously, we've met. We've worked together, been friends for a really long time. Really glad to have you on, man. How you doing?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Doing well. Just back from Vegas.
Yeah, same here. Sam is back from Europe not too long ago. But so I think he had more fun than we did in Vegas, probably.
Pretty sure.
And unlike you guys, I didn't want to come back. So probably.
Yeah, we were definitely ready, I think. So.
Yep. I did 10 days.
Ooh, no, thank you. You did longer than I did. Well, glad to have you on. We will get into all things unsupervised learning. Well, I should say that. Daniel is the founder at Unsupervised Learning. Daniel's done a lot of stuff over the years. Daniel and I worked together way back in the day at Fortify. Known each other through the community for a really long time, been friends for a really long time. So really happy to have you on. You've done some great stuff over at Supervised Learning. So we're gonna get into that and talk about that in your Daniel segment here in just a little bit. But cool. Before we do that, we're going to jump into the HOU.SEC.CON segment. So, Sam, let's talk HOU.SEC.CON. All right, Sam, we've got some announcements. What we got going on, man?
Yeah, so user group there's not going to be one in September, but we do have one in November, and I think you know who's coming to speak at that one.
Yeah, Tommy P from Layer X. He is a strategic solutions director over there. I've known him for a long time. Worked with him way back in the day. So he's coming on. I'm excited to have him. If you don't know, the reason we're not having one in September, everybody, is because we got HOU.SEC.CON going on September 30th and October 1st.
What?
Yeah, something's happening there. It's kind of crazy. Other announcement we've got, CYBR.SEC.Media. So if you are not familiar with it, we've got all of our content on CYBR.SEC.Media. This podcast goes up there. All of our different videos from all of our conferences go up there. We've got a lot of news that goes up there. We've got blogs that are going up there. We've got a lot of good stuff. So go check that out. It's at cybersecmedia.com, cyber without the E, because we're cool like that. Sam's tired of hearing me say that, but I say it anyway. And if you go out there and log in, or go out there and connect up, you can get on our newsletter and you'll get a weekly roll-up feed of all of our stuff. And you can control how often those come through on your feed. And if you want to become an advertiser or a contributor out there, reach out to media at CSCGroupLLC.com. We'll put that in the show notes as well. But we are looking for anybody who wants to advertise there or who wants to contribute. If you want to do some blog posts, stuff like that, let us know. All right. So we talked about HOU.SEC.CON. What we got going on there?
We got good stuff good there. The tickets are flying. That's awesome. Great to see everybody that took advantage of the lower price point before the price went up here. They're $125 now. It's still a great price for as much content as we have for y'all over 2 days. So and just a reminder that the starting time is going to be different. The format's going to be a little bit different. We're going to do the keynote a little bit later in the morning. And we start at 9:30. So you got to get there early, make sure you get in, get your badge and bag and everything. And then the talks in all the 10 tracks will start at 9:30 in the morning. The first 100 people in each of those tracks is going to get a free limited edition gift, surprise cool thing that Lauren and Mary brought out for us. So we're excited about that. We only have 1,000 of those, so it's the first 100 in each of those tracks, and we are expecting almost around 3,000. I mean, right now the way ticket sales are going, we're definitely going to hit way beyond that mark. So, but the official kickoff with Keynote will be after lunch at 1:30. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to be in the General Assembly Hall, and we're going to have a ton of updates for you. All these things that we've been building up and talking secretively about, and giving the little hints to. We're excited to finally give that out and get everybody excited about the future of what we're doing. And then the opening keynote, Dmitry Opirovich, he'll be at 1:45. We're super excited about him. And if you've not read his book, World on the Brink, he'll be there for the book signing as well. And then from a sponsor perspective on that, so as of this recording, we have 3 exhibit sponsors, 17 anchors, and 1 add-on left available. So you can check out HOU.SEC.CON.com/prospectus or reach out to Sponsor Wrangler at HOU.SEC.CON.com. Exhibitors will get a first dibs on all 2026 events and other marketing opportunities as well. And so last thing here, we need mentors. We're still looking for the mentor program. So expanding that to a year-round program. We're going to be, this is a big opportunity for you to give back to the community. And, so if you've got some time, it's not a huge amount of time to invest, but it's super important to help us grow the community. Go to HOU.SEC.CON.com/mentorship to get more information.
Yep. All right. That's it. Go get your tickets. We got a great show. Like I said, we've got great keynotes. The timing's a little different, so just make sure you pay attention to that and get out there and get those special gifts in those 9:30 tracks. Really excited about that. I think everybody will get a kick out of those. So, all right, now that everybody is up to date on HOU.SEC.CON, we are going to talk about our article of the day. So I was listening to the Risky Biz podcast, Patrick Gray, Adam Boileau over there the other day. They had a really good, they brought one of their producers on as well to talk about this, I think. So Google says it found AI-based bugs or 20 security vulnerabilities using their AI-based bug hunter. So this is, and Daniel, I chose this one on purpose because I know you're big into AI and that's kind of a lot of your focus these days, but really thought this one was interesting. They've kind of got their a couple of groups combined to try to start finding flaws right now in a bunch of open source software, because that's the easiest one to go grab. I think they went after FFmpeg and something else I can't remember. So they're basically using that to go run through, find a bunch of bugs, see what they can find. What was interesting about the conversation that they were having on Risky Biz was the kind of the arms race that looks like it's going to go back and forth, because obviously the bad guys are going to use AI to try to find this stuff and try to take advantage of it, maybe automating the process of finding the bug and then creating an attack for it. The good guys are trying to find it and patch it. And I thought it was kind of an interesting discussion back and forth on the arms race of how this might flesh out over the years. And Daniel, before you commented on it, I also wanted to ask you, because I had a kind of a thought on this and see and you talk to however do you want to about it, but AI, so we've got AI coding more these days. AI learns from crappy code, so it gives you crappy code a lot of times. But the more bugs we find, and I know this is not just a straight line logic here, but because there's a lot of nuance to this, but if over time, if we're fixing bugs, then AI learns from good code and should produce better code in the long run. To me, that means the good guys ultimately win, of course, unless the bad guys are messing with AI to get it to still produce bad code, that kind of stuff. So that was my thought on kind of the timeline of this. Thought it was really interesting how it could play out. So wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think it's a huge problem that AI is building bad code right now. I think the biggest reason for this is that kind of the current version of AI is built on kind of Stack Exchange, Stack Overflow, the old forums of code. And you would have like the green check mark for how to do input validation or something. And it would be like the worst code snippet ever. And like millions of developers have copied and pasted that and put it into their code. And that's, of course, most of the samples that the AI saw, right? So there's a whole bunch of examples of that. The other thing is AI is just super like unevolved and unadvanced right now. So it's like, it's just early days. So it doesn't really understand how to build software. It's kind of just getting lucky when it assembles something. It could do it very fast and it works and it looks good, but it's not engineered software. It's assembled, right? And I think the move to being engineered software, I don't think it's going to take too long. I think it's just going to be gradual over the next, 1 to whatever 3 years or something. Where most software being built with AI, I think is going to get pretty good. As far as the offense and defense, I think, and this is largely what I'm going to talk about in the talk as well, is like it turns into this attacker defender thing where you have you basically have attacker automation going against your defender automation, and that's the fight. And the question is like, well, who's going to naturally have more advantage there? In the beginning, I think the attacker has the advantage because they can hear about a new AI thing on Sunday night and they could try it on Monday morning. Whereas a defender team has to have 20 meetings and propose a different change to their defensive system. Oh, we're going to do this with AI. Oh, cool. Let's have 9 meetings about it. Let's put it into our planning cycle. Right. So it's like anything to defend. Yeah. I mean, you have to sell the idea, then you have to sell a plan, then you have to actually build it and find the people to build it. So the attacker just moves so much faster. So I think for a very long time, the attacker is going to have the advantage. Now, ideally, defender is going to have more information about their systems, and it's going to be more real time. So ideally, the defender wins the context war. And so if the defender gets up to its highest level and the attacker is at its highest level, I think the defender has an advantage. For example, like Google. I think Google is probably going to be extremely good with agents, as good as their attackers. But most companies not.
Well, I mean, Google being a company that values innovation and speed from a business perspective, you think they may be quicker to adopt stuff and not have to go through the rounds of approval, or how are you?
No, it's more so that they're just on top of their game security wise. Like when they get hit with something, they're, I would say, the fastest company in the world in being able to say, okay, update that across all of our systems.
Yeah.
Now, if any of our systems in the world get hit with that, the defense is in place. Kind of like the Borg. I don't know if you remember the Borg.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why I
couldn't be
keep
on
using
this
this
without
reference.
I couldn't be on this podcast without knowing what who the Borg.
Yeah. So you remember, like, you would hit the Borg with a phaser and they'd fall over. And the very next one, it doesn't matter where it was, it would block that one. So all of the Borg got updated with that shield frequency. And I definitely see Google as kind of being the closest thing to that.
Google's a hive mind, is what you're saying.
It is. Yeah. Really, really efficient.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a lot like EDR. Anything else, when they, any of them that say, we see one attack in one place, we update across the board, could cause mass disruption, as we've seen in the past. But generally, that's the idea. Any customer of that's using it. So, but Google being able to do it themselves in their own infrastructure is strong. So,
well, back to that article, I want to say that if I'll put a positive thing on it, like, it's good to see it being used for something good. Like, we talk as we are as security professionals, right? It's all doom and gloom a lot of times when we talk about this stuff, but leveraging AI to do something good, basically, and work to find these things that we can fix them. And that being said, I know you're not wrong at all, Daniel, about having 20 meetings before you can fix stuff, especially in the larger organizations. But I feel like it seems to me like some of these larger attack organizations would have similar type of reporting structures, et cetera. And probably while they may be able to act faster, I'm sure they have a few meetings too. Wouldn't you think?
I'm sure there are some that are like that do have some meetings and have some sort of process that they have to follow. I'm more so thinking, and this is just intuition. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I imagine most attacker groups being fairly small, being 10, 20, 50 people, right? If not 5 people. And so if that's just the majority, I think they can move very fast. The other cool thing to say about this whole tech thing, so there's Expo, which was mentioned in the article. So they are a company that's doing automated bug bounty, and they've reached the top of HackerOne now, both U.S. based and globally. Then there was the AI/XCC competition in DEF CON. And this is literally a government competition which ran for multiple years for who could build software that just scours the internet looking for open source projects and fixes them. So it doesn't just find vulnerabilities, it finds vulnerabilities, writes fixes that actually solve the problem.
Yep.
And the government, this is DARPA, they put this on. So to me, it's like, it's like old Bell Labs or old DARPA stuff where it's like really benefiting society. And the coolest thing is it was all released as open source.
Well, that was part of the requirement for it, right?
Yeah.
If you were going to be part of that competition, then you had to release it as open source, which, I thought was fantastic. Like, nobody is going to take this and just keep it for themselves. It had to be released for the good of the community. I thought that was fantastic. So.
Yeah. And so I think we're definitely seeing this automated agent stuff. It's real, right? It's real. Not theoretical.
And that was a big thing in Risky Biz. They kept talking about it. It's like, 2 years ago, even a year ago, you're kind of, you kind of go, yeah, well, I'm not sure. That may be a marketing thing. And then I see more curmudgeon-y stuff still these days from certain people on like LinkedIn and Twitter and everything else, X, whatever. And they're still curmudgeon-y about it. And like, this is not, it's like, guys, y'all need, I get, you get aggravated when somebody, on the marketing side, on the vendor side or something goes, we've got AI and we're doing all this cool stuff, but this stuff is not, it's not fake anymore, or it's not just marketing, and it's real. So, well, Daniel, thanks for your comments on that. I just super interesting to me and how that's moving. And again, I know this is a big space for you in the AI world. So appreciate your expertise. So we are going to take a quick break. And on the other side of that break, we're going to do our usual interrogation of our guests to find out all of their super secrets from their background and why they got into cybersecurity. Daniel, I think, produces good OPSEC, so he'll be okay. And then we'll talk about your talk that you're going to be presenting. Very excited to have you come out to HOU.SEC.CON this year. Going to be good to see you. So let's take a quick break, and on the other side, we'll get into it. And we are back. Hope everybody enjoyed the break. So Daniel, give us a rundown of why you do what you do. What got you into it? As far back as you want to go. What influenced you to get inside? I know you got a very inquisitive mind and you're a smart dude, but what made you turn all of that to what you're doing today?
Yeah, so out of high school, I joined the Army. So I was military for a while. And when I got out of the Army, 101st Airborne. So when I left there, I went to college where my girl was going to college, and I was going to do pre-med actually. And I got a job at the computer lab and started building websites for money. And everyone was being attacked. There was lots of worms propagating the internet at the time. And university networks, at least in Georgia, were there are flat IPs. They're all public IPs, every single desktop. So there was someone there named Jason Orm, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we're being attacked." Blah blah blah. He's like, "Yeah, check the server," and I'm like, "What's a server?" And he tells me what a server is, and so that was total gateway drug. And the moment I asked what a server was, and he answered, I was no longer pre-med. And just went directly into computers and just kind of skipped computers and went right into security. Because he's like, hey, so-and-so, Windows box is down. And I had just learned from Ken Swain. I started taking a computer class right after that. And he taught me about Linux. So I started installing Linux all over the campus to defend against all these NT4 boxes and Windows 98 or whatever it was at the time being taken over. So I ended up like shoring up the network. I installed a new DNS server with DJB DNS. And like within a couple of months, I was the head of security for the university, got my own office.
Whoa.
Yeah, I've still never had an office after that. It's like this happened immediately. So I was just completely into it. Of course, I switched my major and started studying that. And then after that, just a bunch of different security roles. I went right into basically firewall engineering right after that, and then directly into pen testing. And then that was kind of the launch.
Wow. And when did you start that? When roundabout what year were you starting that?
98.
Okay. So I'm trying to remember when we connected in the blogosphere back in the days. That'd have been like mid 2000s or something like that.
Yeah,
so you were already in it for going on close to a decade, maybe.
Yeah, that might have been like 2000. Yeah, maybe like 6 or 7. I don't know.
Yeah, I was a security manager at the time of that psychiatric clinic. I think that's when we started connecting and met you at RSA and stuff like that, if I remember correctly. So did the bloggers meet up, all of that stuff way back in the day. So, well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people. I find it interesting how we talk to some folks who did that whole, war games type of thing where they were doing bad stuff when they were in high school, and their dad got them a computer or anything like that. And then there's people who really didn't have any exposure to that stuff, like to your point, until college. And it either way, I mean, it's no gatekeeping involved, right? However you got to where you are, you've obviously been extremely effective at what you're doing. So love the story. Similar story when I got exposed when I was a kid to computers and stuff, but I was way out in Mississippi and couldn't, didn't have any freaking background. So I couldn't hack in to get on BBSs from, in the mid 80s. So it wasn't until college that did the same thing. I got exposed at Tomball College up here and started getting into it, taking computer classes and all that. So that's a really cool background. And to go from it, up in the air as to whether you'd have been more effective as a doctor for saving lives than security. What do you think about that?
No, I think tech, because doctors usually don't get online and try to help other people.
Yeah.
Usually, nothing against them. It's just that they have a practice. They're dealing with physical people in a physical location. I mean, maybe if I had written some book about cholesterol or something like that, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we're all lucky for it that happened. But I think the interesting thing there, the nugget is, you saw something, you went to fix it, and that's how it starts, right? So showing initiative is my point. Show initiative, get in there and start working. it and people notice. And that's really cool.
Yeah, one thing to mention is so one of my mentors there was Ken Swain, who he was the one who showed me Linux and Google. I was using Northern Lights as my browser or my search engine at the time.
I don't even remember Northern Lights. I remember like web crawler and stuff, but not Northern Lights.
Yeah. But the one who showed me what a server is, he left the job like 1 or 2 months after that. So he like literally taught me how to Google, because I would just ask, like kids, why? I'm like, how do I do that? How do I do that? How do I do that? And one day he sits me down. He's like, hey, what's this? This thing that you just asked me, I'm going to go search. I'm going to find the answer, and then I'll know the answer. And he was a nice guy, so he was just like giving me a hint. But he left right after that to go work at Fermilabs. He still works there.
Whoa! Wow! Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And he's been, promoted multiple times. But yeah, so this guy teaches me what a server was and bails and hands me the whole lab, which is why I had to accelerate so quickly. He's like, this is all yours now. And make sure things don't go down. But yeah, he's still got the same job.
Well, I was going 2 different ways with him showing you Google. Either he was sick of your questions and he was like, send this kid over to Google so he'll quit asking me stuff. Or I know I'm about to leave, so he needs a resource because I ain't going to be here to do it for him.
Right.
Maybe a combo
Probably
of both.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's what I said about your inquisitive mind, because you've always asked a lot of questions, and then I've learned a lot from you over the years as well. So it's good to have that inquisitive mind in this. You got to in this field. You can't not be inquisitive. If you're not curious, then what are you doing here? So,
yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for that background. And let's jump into your presentation. So obviously, without giving away everything that you're going to be doing, let's talk about what you're going to be doing at HOU.SEC.CON. So the title is Killer Context: How AI Will Eat Security and Software. So I think that's a little play on the software is eating the world, I'm assuming. Yeah. So get into it, man. What are you going to be doing there?
Really, it's highlighting this whole concept of context, which I feel like when I wrote the title of the talk, it was not as well known as it is now. So maybe, I don't know, maybe a title change or something. But I feel like the more context that you have about something, the easier it is to do. So I think what we end up having is essentially world models for things, and we have to keep those world models updated as possible. So attackers want a clear world model of the target they're looking at, and defenders want a clear world model of obviously themselves. And the more up to date that it is and the more thorough it is, the better it is. And my favorite example from this is you have imagine like a military leader. Way back in the day, there's no satellites, there's no like advanced, technical intel. And it's like a general or something. And the general's like, where should we attack? And, what do we know? How big are the troops? The size of the troops? Oh, we don't know. What about our troops? Oh, we're not sure. We're cut off from the lines. How much food do we have? We don't know. So a whole bunch of unknowns. You essentially need a genius to navigate in that much uncertainty. Okay, so this is the rough argument. Now, what happens if you have real-time data of everything? So you could see every troop of your own, every troop of theirs. You could see all the weapons are highlighted. You know exactly what direction they're going at all times. And I imagine having this general call over a private who's like mopping the floor. And it's like, hey, private, what do you think we should do here? And he walks over chewing gum and he's like, I don't know. Shouldn't we blow that up? Because it's got a big red thing around it that says blow this up, because it has the most important weapons inside of it. It's like the most important thing to the enemy. And he's like, shouldn't we just blow that up? Isn't that like all their weapons? Wouldn't we just win? And he's like, you're an absolute genius, private. You're an absolute genius. The context makes the required expertise come down. So what if we knew the state of all the storage that we have? All the different configs, we could see which ones had open S3 buckets or whatever. If we knew the state and what was wrong with the state, and we could clearly see it on a giant board, then you don't need security wizards anymore. It's just kind of obvious. So I think basically the future of tech in general is creating these deeply rich and real-time world models where you can see everything and you understand it. And the whole AI play here is like AI is not special. It's not magic sauce. It's just a whole bunch of eyeballs and a whole bunch of voices and a whole bunch of hands. So imagine sending millions or billions of agents out into your environment, and all they do is report back. They just report up through a chain to update this dashboard to tell you what the exact current state is.
Yeah. Well, I think we're already seeing that with what some people were showing off on it, whether it's effective or not at this point. I don't know, but we're already seeing that with some of I don't want to name them necessarily, but like talk to 2 or 3 on the Black Hat floor.
Yeah.
That were specifically that. It was all agentic. It was now the level of where they were getting to right now is like level 1 and level 2 analyst type of work where they had a lot of agents pulling data from a lot of different sources that you would typically have and just kind of replacing SOAR at this point in a little way, in a bit where it's automating that stuff and giving those reactions or those, I guess, those actions that you would take normally and doing all of the lookups to see if something was real, but they weren't taking actions necessarily at that point to start. I mean, they could, but they weren't touting that. It was more the gathering that a typical analyst would do using agentic AI. So we're already seeing some of that going down that path. So is your contention, like, I mean, not to get too crazy or theatric or dramatic about it, but I mean, is your contention like this, once we get this, that it's just going to take care of the security problem and we're not going to need security people, or how do you see that?
No, I mean, first of all, this is hard. So it's going to take forever to do this. And the bigger the org, the harder it is. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, like, what does it mean to get the state of an AWS environment? You've got 9 accounts, millions or billions. And like, these are containers, like Kubernetes are coming up and down constantly. Yeah. So even pulling this stuff and having a real-time view of it, that is so much data that just overwhelms AI. So you need this combination of like regular tech and AI. And this is why I think AI is going to go absolutely crazy, like straight up into the air. It actually has nothing to do with like the intelligence of the models. Like, the models are already smart. I don't think they need to be that much smarter. The problem is the orchestration of getting terabytes of data, but I want it updated like every minute, every second. Like, that is just massive orchestration. You still need security people, though. First of all, you have to design the system. You have to know what questions you want to ask, right? Once you have the data, if you're not a security person, you don't necessarily know what to look for, even if you're staring at it on the wall. So,
but doesn't AI also figure that out after a while?
Yeah, I mean, eventually, yeah. Very long term, I think you need fewer people. But
what are you thinking about from a timeline? I mean, if you had to guess, if you dare to guess, to where?
Yeah, I mean, I think today we already need fewer people. We will need fewer people. I just think it ramps up pretty slowly. Mm. It also depends on how good we get at doing this AGI thing, which I define as just the orchestration, not like a super intelligent AI. Yeah. It's like really well coordinated AI is what I consider to be AGI. If it's good enough to replace like an average knowledge worker. If that happens, my year for that is like 2027. If that happens in 27, roughly, we'll need a lot fewer people from that. I'm actually super concerned about this wrote a post about that yesterday.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm really worried about the impact of that on like so many different jobs.
The challenge I was going to say though on all of this though is we talk constantly about how we have a lack of, we have a deficit in people joining cyber, right? And getting those people into the workforce, and yet you gotta figure out some way to to fill the gap, right? I mean, and that drives technology, and that's why we're at these kinds of things, is because there's a need for it. It's hard, but it happens with every industry at some point or another. The key here is just to be prepared for it, and and start working towards basically understanding it and being part of it, understanding AI, understanding how to leverage those things, right?
Yeah, I've always wondered about this security person shortage. It doesn't really make any sense to me because like I've been a hiring manager multiple times. If you have money to hire people and you need people, you just hire people. So if they're saying there's a security shortage, there's not enough people, well, it's simply not true, because there are hundreds of thousands or millions of people who want to do security work. They're sitting there, they're not getting calls. They're sending in resumes, they're not getting callbacks. So I don't know. There's some kind of like real disconnect here about those numbers and about the claim.
And
I
if
think
you
it's a
surf
clear
LinkedIn any
disconnect.
given day, you surf LinkedIn any given day, and you see all that, right? There's a lot of people looking, and
Well, there are
it's
a lot of people looking. I think there's still a lot of people hiring. I mean, I know this is a whole nother discussion point, but I get really concerned and like just critical of the numbers, because for one, it tends to go up every year. It started with 1 million and it went to 2. And I think now we're seeing 5 and 6 million. And those numbers are generally all published by organizations that I will not name on here for sake, fear of pissing anybody off, but they're published by people who have a very big concern about getting more people into the industry, and that's how they make their living. So they create those studies in some ways out of whole cloth, or at least swizzling numbers. So, but again, that's a whole nother discussion. Maybe we could do another podcast on that, Daniel, sometime.
Yeah. I mean, this is like the most common thing that's thrown around, probably insecurity. It's like, oh, by next month we will need 75 trillion new security analysts. It's like, well, how's the number keep multiplying by 10?
That hockey stick definitely takes effect really quick, because people keep it. It's like when they start seeing their numbers get hurt because not as many people are going after certifications to get into security, and AI is absolutely going to have an effect on it. It's like, oh, once you create an organization, that organization's goal from that point on is to remain in business. So it's like, this just a self-perpetuating thing.
Yep.
Well, man, thanks for joining us. Always great to talk to you. Great discussion. I mean, I now to put too fine a point onto it, not trying to blow smoke or kiss your butt here. I mean, you do great work, dude. I've always appreciated and respected what you do. So thanks for Unsupervised Learning. I subscribe, read the stuff all the time. It's
Great
just
newsletter.
great.
Yep.
You've done a great job with it. So thanks for sharing your knowledge with us here, and coming to HOU.SEC.CON. Really appreciate it.
Go sign up for that newsletter. We'll put it in the show notes.
We'll do a link. I mean, it's worth your time. Go sign up. So
yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Great to have you. Sam, any parting thoughts, sir?
No, this is good. It definitely jogs a few brain cells about other topics, right? And we could have taken this way off the rails on some of that conversation, but no time today. Right?
We can go have a political discussion after this. That's always fun. Daniel and I have been involved in a few of those over the years. So.
Oh yeah, we have. Yeah, we have.
Too fun. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us on episode 49 of the HOU.SEC Cast with Daniel Miessler, and we will see you soon, if you can believe it, on episode 50. So, all right, everybody, have a good one.